Okay, so for this interview, I'm gonna be the one who, well, she's gonna be the one who asks the questions and I'm gonna answer them. And we're gonna talk about the usage of social media. So, can you start with the questions, please, Ali?
Yeah, for sure. First one, which social media do you have?
Okay, I have almost every social media. I have WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Snapchat. So, pretty most of the one that we have in these days.
Okay. Good. How much time do you spend on social media?
Okay, it depends on which social media we're talking about. I think in total, like 4 hours per day, at least.
Okay.
Most of the time it's in WhatsApp and Instagram. I think WhatsApp like hour and a half or two, because every day we're communicating in WhatsApp, so we have to.
Yeah.
To stay in with the news of what's happening around you, with your friends, with work, everything. So now we cannot, to be honest, I could say we cannot survive without WhatsApp. And also Instagram, that's mainly because I just like spending time in there, but another hour and a half in Instagram.
Okay.
And the other ones, I would say just 1 hour in total. I don't use them as much as the first two that I mentioned.
Okay. So, third question, which social media do you use mostly?
As I just told you, WhatsApp and Instagram. Well, the reasons are the ones I mentioned before. And also, well, talking a little bit more about Instagram, I think I like to communicate by that social media, to entertain with videos, photos, see what people is doing, and also, I don't know, I sometimes I look for recipes, for different things in there, so that's why I spend so much time using that social media, or even live videos. That it's something that every day they use more, and you can just spend hours in there, so that's the reason and the social medias that I use the most.
Okay. Why do you use social media? Like job, free time, work, study?
Okay, for this question, it will change a lot. For example, LinkedIn, of course, is more for job, as you can look for a job in there, look for people who is searching for a job. Then you can get customers in that social media, communicate in a more formal environment, like more business, we would say. So this social media, I use it for work. Twitter, I would say for information. Most of the time they post important and real information, and even, for example, presidents and people who is really important post different information in there, so I use it to inform about the things that are happening, and also they have some trends of the main things that they have been looking for. For example, right now between the war, when I want to know what's happening, I just go to Twitter and look in there. WhatsApp for both business, fun, just spend time in there. And the other ones that are Instagram, Facebook, and Snapchat is more for entertainment, just to spend some time when I'm not doing anything, and when I'm taking, like, for example, a bus, or when they give us a break in class. That's where I use those social medias.
Okay, perfect. Do you think that you spend a lot of time on social media? And if the answer is yes, how can you reduce it?
Yes, I spend a lot of time on social media, and the best way to reduce it would be using apps, or even nowadays phones offer you that function where you can put a limit of time for each social media. So that I think that would be the best way. But the problem is that I have tried before, but it doesn't work. You can just cancel that and keep using the social media. So you also need to have the mentality to do it, because if not, then you're just gonna stop and cancel it and keep using the social media. So that's why it's not easy, but of course there are a lot of different ways where you can stop using the social media or limit the use of social media. But it's hard because now we're getting used to it and it's something normal in our days. So we don't see it as something random, but if we were like 20 years ago and looking how people spend that much time using the social media, then here is when it becomes a problem.
Yeah, right now it is. And do you think that social media are influencing our lives in general?
Yes, of course they are. Because, for example, when you go to a social event, most of the people, instead of talking with somebody or sharing experiences or being present in there, they are just in their phones doing something else, distracted. So I think that you don't enjoy that much the moments that you're living. And also, I mean, not just this, but you can have negative or positive experiences with social media that could make you change your habits, and this is why of course it influences people. And also the new generations, for sure they are gonna be different than the ones that we had before, that they didn't use social media. So we'll see that change, and I think with our generation we're already looking at that change. So it's something that we need to have present in our lives because it could be really bad in the future. So yeah, of course it's influencing.
Okay. And do you consider social media dangerous, or like there are some positive aspects too?
Yeah, I can both, of course both. Dangerous because, for example, I know a friend that was just using his social media, but suddenly he got hacked. So somebody was using his social media, talking to people, to his friends, and people didn't know this, so they were like, okay, he's just my friend. And also sometimes there was they tried to take money away from his friends. So they were just like texting him, oh, I need you to give me, I don't know, 50 euros for this, please, I will pay you later. And it was like, okay, why not, he's my friend. And so it could be dangerous if you don't use it appropriately. But also it could be good because you can communicate, you don't have the necessity to go and meet the person if they live far, and you can stay in touch with people who you don't usually see. So right now with COVID, then people could stay in touch even if they have COVID. So of course it has a lot of advantages. And also talking about business, for example, how many companies use Instagram, Facebook, or other social media to offer their products, and all of the users are just spending time in there. So of course this is also like a business, we could say, and it's really good for them. And also at the beginning of COVID, many companies survived thanks to social media. If not, it will be really complicated. So of course it has advantages and disadvantages.
Okay, yes. Do you know someone else with negative experience with social media?
Yes, as I told you before, that was one experience, and also there's another social media called Omegle or something like that. I don't know. But they told me a story. It's where you meet random people and just have a video chat.
Yeah.
And a friend was using it, and after they were sharing information with each other, talking, and they were like, oh, can I have your social media? And he was sure. So he gave him the social media, and I think it was Instagram. So the other guy started texting all of his friends because you could see that. So it has not a lot of privacy in the social media. That's a very bad thing. And then just start texting them as I told you before, like if it was his friend. And I mean it could be really, really dangerous because you are sharing everything with people you don't even know, and you don't know who, as everybody has access to social media, you don't know who is good and who is gonna make you something bad.
Okay. Okay, perfect. Should a limitation of age exist and why?
Yes, I think probably not really old people, but at least 15 years old, because as I mentioned before, people doesn't even know what can social media like create. So they should do it because young people most of the time is not conscious of what they are doing, and they can do some really bad things, or for them it's not bad, but at the end it could have a negative impact. So at least if it's old people, then they will be a little bit conscious of what they do. And well, talking about how old, I don't think there should be a limitation. But as we know, all generations don't usually use social media, so that's another reason. So the ones who could adapt, then they should use it, if they want, of course. And also, but it is important to put something in order to avoid people who is younger than the limit of age, because right now everybody could create social media, and if it's like 15 years or older, they can just say yes I am, so they should put something to check that and guarantee that nobody younger than the age is using it.
Okay. Okay, right. And the last question is, do you think social media is the means through which you can victim of cyberbullying or other phenomena?
Yes, I think most of the time, because when you see cyberbullying or something else, it is usually because of the social media, because there's no other like website or other place most of the time where you can do this. And I mean, a lot of people is only using social media to harm anybody else. There are even some documentaries in Netflix that talk about this. So you can see that they have a real impact in this. So as I have been saying in the whole interview, social media has a positive place, like a positive side and a negative side. I would say it's really positive, but you need to know how to use it. People around you need to know how to use it, and they should like respect the limits and try not to use it as a negative as a negative tool. So of course this is hard because a lot of people is always trying to damage other people, but I mean, as long as you are conscious, then you shouldn't have any problem with this. Not even if there's bad people outside, you just need to use right the social medias in order to have a positive experience and make the most out of it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
For your interview.
No, it doesn't matter.